Well, good morning. Welcome to Sebring Slot Cars.
Hey there.
I'm Jim. That's Steve. This is Shop Talk with Jim and Steve, and today we're talking tires. We tried this last week, and our cameras were all out of whack. So, welcome back. We're going to give it another whirl. Same thing we did last week. So today we're going to talk about tires. I've got these slotted wheels. They come in multiple sizes. These are 13s. Let me get it. There you go. There's 13s. And then we got 14s. Get my hand out of the way, maybe you can see the wheels in the package. And then we have 15s. And these are the part numbers and everything. I hope you can see it clearly.
Yep.
And so that's the slotted wheels. and I've brought some MSR wheels, or MR slots. These are Ernie Mozzetti's. I like his wheels. And then we have the slotted tires that we're going to be using today. These are SP30s. They also make an SP25. That SP number is the hardness of the rubber. And then I brought a JB slot car tire. This is from Jeff Bonanno. He produces these, and it's a really nice rubber. This is a medium wonder, and so we're going to be making tires with these. And so what I want to do is start the process. I've already set up tires and wheels on my wooden block. They're already here. Oop, there you go. So this is a prototype wooden block that we just made last week for the show.
Highly custom.
Yeah, and you know, this is the deluxe model. we made this just so it'd be easier for demonstration purposes. Actually, it worked better than I thought as far as making tires.
I wouldn't mind having one like that.
Well, I'll sell you this one for $30.
You know what, I'm in. I just want your logo on there.
Okay, so what we're going to do. I'm going to cut this rubber first, so I'll have everything I can glue. So we're going to cut the rubber.
You want to use a 13 first?
Well, let me start with the camera first.
All right.
All right. So what I'm doing, I've got the wheels already over here.
Oh, I see.
What I'm doing is I've got a regular 1/4-inch drive bit that I'm going to insert inside the tire, and that's going to enable me to cut it. And I'm going to chuck it up. Okay, this is my handy tool rack here. And I'm going to attempt to cut it exactly in the middle just by eyeballing it. And I think I can do that. I might be a hair off, but it's close enough it shouldn't matter. All right, so that's a handy dandy lathe I bought off the internet. And so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take tires out of here, out of the slotted package also. I've already put the set screws in all the wheels, so we don't have to fumble around with that on the camera. So we're going to put glue on all the wheels, and then we're going to put glue on all the tires. So I use a contact cement. You don't have to use contact cement. There's many different glues you can use. Somewhere I have a Q-tip. There they are. Let me get my Q-tips ready.
I think the contact cement is probably the best for releasing the tires if you want to go back and re-put, a new set on.
Yeah, they are. The glue is a little easier to use. You can take, if you want to redo a set of wheels and put new rubber on a set of wheels, you can put it in acetone, or you can put them in lighter fluid, or many different chemicals, and to break it down. The first time I do this, I'm going to use more glue because the cotton Q-tip is going to soak up some glue, and then once it gets to its point of saturation, then it'll all be good again. And I like it a little bit heavy on the wheel. Now normally what I'll do on most of my wheels is I will use sandpaper and sand the wheel, and that'll give the glue a little more to bite to. I didn't do it on these because I forgot to bring my emery board over. So I'm going to glue them up without it. They'll be fine. About the only time you ever have a problem with a tire being unglued is when you mount it and the wheel sucks in too far and you try to salvage it without re-gluing it. Oh, I'm sorry. So I'll get in the camera with it. And all I do is I'm just scratching the aluminum so the glue can adhere. But it gives the glue a little something to cling to. You can't hardly probably see those, but you might see some of the shine going away. I don't know if you can see that or not, but maybe you can. Okay, so now we're going to glue these wheels. So there's a glued wheel.
Back away a little bit. Right there. Yep. Perfect.
And it'll all level out, but got a little surplus on there. So there's a glued wheel. Now we're going to glue this next one. And this glue bottle, it's about time to thin it back down. It's a little heavy. I like it heavier on the tire itself. I like it thinner on the wheel. Okay, so all those are going to set. So now we're going to glue some tires. See if I can turn it where you can see something.
Right there. Yep. Perfect. Yep.
Now all I'm going to do is just take that around in the wheel and be sure that it's glued good all the way through both sides. I even got my finger in it. Okay, so that's glued. Let's do another one.
Up a little. Yep.
If I was left-handed, I could do it from the back side and let you see it better.
You're getting it though.
Now we'll do the slotted wheel tires. Now slotted tells you that normally you don't need to glue your wheels, but we found that when you run a fast track with a high bank, you probably better glue your wheels. We had them, when we didn't glue them, we had them come off and they'd get into the gear and cost you some positions in the race. Got everything sticking to me now. Glue's working. I should be finished with the glue bottle now, so I'll get it out of the way. You can use Xylenol to thin the glue if you're using contact cement, and that mustard bottle works real well. All right, so we got those glued. We're going to let them set for a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about the tires and everything. All right, Steve, what you got for us?
Well, I think the important thing here is that, like I always tell people, I've been only doing this for about a year and a half, so I'm still learning things as I go. But in the last few months, the thing that comes into my awareness when it comes to tires and rims is the Black Track has been a really good blessing as far as learning the differences with rims and tires. It's really apparent on the Black Track, even more so than on the orange. Most people think that a rim is a rim, and if it fits on the car, then it'll work, and that's somewhat true. I've experimented putting wheels on cars that really don't belong on other cars just to see if they'll work, and sometimes it does, and then sometimes it doesn't. But usually there's some standard rules, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We'll talk about the importance of rim size, rim width, and then we'll talk about tire compounds, how important they can be, and why you would change them to begin with, what would cause you to use a different compound tire and a different size rim. So I think
All right, so
yeah.
tell me, why do you need 3 different sets of rims like Slot has for foam tires?
If you have a guy like Steve Madison who sprays your track with glue and really gets excited, he can overspray it, and if that happens,
That can happen?
It can happen. And I wanted a lot of grip, and boy, I got it. And so, unfortunately, when we cleaned the Black Track the second time, I was in charge of spraying, and I went around all the curves and got a little excited with our glue. It was really sticky, and the problem there is if you're running a small hub with a tire that is let's just say a 750 diameter or 770 diameter, doesn't really matter, the amount of rubber between the rim and the tire itself, the sidewall you have, increases or decreases when you have a larger versus smaller wheel. So if you have a really small wheel with a ton of tire in between, you're gonna have a lot of grip. And so if you have a really heavy sprayed track and you have a ton of grip, it's not going to want to go anywhere. It's going to want to roll over when it comes into corners and just kind of roll over as it comes through. It'll just turtle. And there won't be any kind of slide, which Jim is more of a slide type of driver.
I like them loose.
Yeah, and then I like it kind of in between. I like a little bit of slide. And then we have another guy, Miguel. He likes a really tight car. I mean, his cars are really planted. And so, I mean, it's just a difference in driving style. But what we were getting at is, when I oversprayed the track, Victor Vilichow, another driver, came to me and said, you ought to look at a bigger size rim with a different compound tire. And I thought,
what kind of a compound tire?
And that was just it. He said, you might want to do like a hard or a medium so that it'll have some give, because you have too soft a tire, it's going to want to grab. And he said, if you have a bigger rim, you're going to have a lot more to turn. It wants to kind of give a little bit and slide. So in the case of being oversprayed or having a really super sticky track, he recommended a large wheel with a harder compound. I had never thought about that before. You know?
And what's the results of using a larger rim with less tire,
the
less sidewall?
The car wouldn't roll over so much. It would actually slide a little, have some give.
What other benefits are there?
Conversely, the other way, let's say you have a track that's dirty and really slippery, and you're all over the place. The car onto the straight is kind of wagging, and every time you get on the gas, it kind of steps out. At that point, I'm going to look and see what kind of compound do I have. Do I have medium or hard? I should probably try a soft. If that doesn't work, I would maybe jump down in rim size if it's available and see if I can get some more sidewall to get more grip. The other factor in that, by the way, there's always a few other little factors always with slot cars, but you know, aside from tightening up the pod and trying to reduce wag, once you tighten up this pod and it's locked solid and you're still all over the place, the only place to go at that point is tires. And so once you've exhausted your adjustments in suspension, whether it's body float or whether it's the pod, the only logical place to go then is rubber, and so or tires. So what I guess we're driving at is the importance of the diameter of the tire and what rim you use is really kind of conditional on what are the conditions inside the shop, and have they just glued the track? Is the track rubbered in? Does it need to be cleaned? Is it hot that day? Is it cold that day? How much humidity? How many people are in here? Like, for instance, we had a really good race, LMP on Black, about a week ago, and I was having a lot of trouble, and so was another driver. And a group of people walked in, and the humidity that came in from that group walking in changed the track dramatically to the point where we started running 2 to 3 tenths faster because the track started hooking up. We had grip all of a sudden. And so, you know, atmospheric changes and track changes are really something you have to take in consideration if you're going to get faster and if you want your car to run at its optimum.
Let me present the rim size another way, the
Yeah.
way that I do it. I will normally run as large of a rim as I can get away with, because a larger rim and less rubber will give you higher speed. However, that larger rim and less rubber doesn't hook up like a smaller rim and more rubber. And so if I can't get the big tire to work or the big rim to work, then I'll go down a size. Maybe I'll go from a 15 millimeter to a 14 millimeter. And see how that does for me, because it's not going to give me as much speed as that 15 millimeter, but it's going to give me more speed than the 13. If that won't hook up and I can't after making my adjustments to the car, I can't get it to hook up, then I'll go to a 13. And sometimes, you know, I get lazy and I just put a 13 on just because I'm lazy and I don't want to do the homework. But that's the way, you know, really that I determine what rim size I'm running normally, is what is going to, you know, what can I get away with. Okay, these tires have probably set good enough. We can go ahead and glue these.
Yep.
So I didn't waste your time putting the set screws in the wheels or any of that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the wheels on the spindle. We'll start with the slotted. I'll take them off of here, put them on the tire changer. This is my automatic tire changer.
It's fancy.
I need to move this over some. Okay, that'll make it a little easier on me. Okay, so I'll take this axle out, put that there. Now I'm going to put my tire changer on there. I'm going to take my slotted tire. I'm going to put some lighter fluid inside of it, wipe my cone off. I got tire dust off of it from earlier when I tried to clean my tire changer. Okay, so I'm going to put some lighter fluid inside my tire, push it down. Now some of the glue will come off on the cone. Don't panic, it'll be fine. Just clean it before you use it next. You know, the longer you let the glue set, the less glue you'll get on the cone. Okay, so what I like to do is push down with the tire mounter just to seat that properly. And then I come to the front side and I want to kind of release some of the pressure on that tire so that it's not cone shaped from being mounted, or as little cone shaped as possible. And that just kind of helps set the edge. And so you can see that's looking pretty good. So we'll do the next one. Grab the next tire, we'll glue it. I probably should have started with the other tires because they were glued longer. And I fluff the outside. Helps to get the lighter fluid off, you can grip it better. All right, so those two are done. Now we're going to move on to Ernie Mazzetti's specials. Thank you, Ernie, for good wheels. I always put my rims upside down every time I mount, so I mount the same way every time. I always check my tires for a glossy surface. If it has a glossy surface, I used to put them all to the back, but now I'm starting to put them all to the front, and I'll put any surplus rubber on the front side, and see how nice that went down just because it had more time to set. Now these flat rims don't have a flange on them. They don't have to be fluffed out so much. They do pretty good on their own. What I'm doing now is I'm just trying to get the tire seated all the way to the edge before I let it set. I compress it some just to get it worked out to the edge on both front and back. And you look at that, you know, you see there's nothing sticking out. And if there's going to be any sticking out, I'd rather stick out of the back than the front. So that one's done. So now we do the last one. And then we're going to true them. And there went my tire changer trying to fall off the table. Now NSR makes a wheel just like this also. They make them in, I think 13s and 14s. I could have that wrong, but I believe it's 13s and 14s. And they're a good wheel. I like them. It's hard right now. Now see, this has the gloss side. I'm going to put that on the outside of the wheel. So I'll change my wheel, flip it over where I can easier grind that outside than I do the inside. Now I'm going to reset it. Now you can't move it a whole lot once that super glue gets in there, but you can move it some. But it sets up pretty quick once those two glues have set a little bit. Lighter fluid will give you a brief reprieve, but it's not going to give you much. Okay, I got that where I want it. All right, so you can see that. You can see I don't know if you can see that shine on there or not. Here's the other side of it, where it's just open pore foam. So those are set. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut these tires. We'll bring tire changer into the equation, or the tire truer into the equation. Excuse my mess. All right, I'm going to try to turn this to you a little bit.
Jim actually has a pretty cool machine where you can do two of them at once.
Yeah,
Most of the machines are just one.
This is a 2 True brand. I mean, I really like it. All I'm going to do is I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with the slotted. They're going to take less turning, and I'm going to start with them, because all you're going to do with these is just touch them up and make sure they're round. With the JBs, I'm going to have to cut quite a bit of rubber down. And on the slotted, I'm just trying to get both edges at the same place. Just trying to get it where I want it on the drum. Okay, so we're going to measure now. We're not going to take much off of these. This is a caliper. If you don't have a caliper, I don't know how you can race slot cars, because you need to know where your tires are before you race, after you race. You just turn it close up off, but there you go. So you really need to know where your tires are. So let's see where these are to begin with. Now normally I would measure them off the machine just to get a best measurement. I'm going to take one off just to do that and show you how I measure. Okay, what I do is I pull it off and I set it between the caliper, and I measure to where it just starts touching. All right, so right now those are about 848, 850. So we're going to run these somewhere between 830 and probably what, Steve, 750, 760,
Yeah.
You know.
760 at the smallest, I think.
So I'm going to cut this pair at 830. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to allow the tires to come into the drums. This knob I'm doing right now is my feed knob. Now normally I would have this preset, and I know where 800 is by memory. I'm going to set it up a little bit to where we can spot check it. And the other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to run my caliper to 830, or as close to it as I can get, lock it in, and then I can spot check the tires. And I'm right there. And it didn't take much cutting to get there either.
Nope.
I got no play, but I'm right there. So now I'm going to pull the tires back off the drums, and I'm going to use my emery cloth and round the edge, the outside edge of the tire. And I'm not going to put a whole lot on it. What I'm trying to do is keep the I'm trying to keep the edge of the tire from biting into the track and causing the car to flip over is the reason for this. And I'll turn it off and check them. And they're where I like them. So I'm going to take these off. And these are done. And with slotted, you'll see where the water jet cuts the wheel. Let's see if I can, oh, I can barely see it in these. It's right here. There's a line right there above my fingernail. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but we don't worry about that. There's not enough there to you know, affect the working of the car. Is barely on that right there. And it's about gone. So anyway, those two tires are ready to rock and roll. Now we're going to do the JB tires on the Ernie Mazzetti wheels. Go through the rim with the tool, through the tire, excuse me, with the tool, into the rim. Now you can push it over, push the edge of the tire over. I don't like doing that.
It wrecked. It kind of hurts it a little bit.
Well, it's going to tear the edge of the tire eventually.
Yep.
Got to back the tire truer out so that the, oh, I know what I forgot. I forgot to ream these.
Want me to go get it?
Yeah, I'll go get the reamer real quick.
I know where it is.
You know it's on the magnet?
Yep.
Okay. Steve's going to go get the reamer. We got to ream this. Some tires come in true 332. Some tires come in a little bit less. Maybe they're metric. I don't know what the deal is, but it helps to have your tires pre-sized. Here, okay, this is a reamer, and we're going to ream both sides of this hub. Now, right here is a step. I don't know if you can see it or not. There's a step right there above my fingernail. And when I get up against that step, the bottom of that's 332. So that's what I'm going to do. That got there pretty quick and easy. Then I'll flip it over and do the other side. All right, see if that slides on there better.
Yep. That's a handy tool.
There it
that reamer.
is. There it is, right on. We'll do this one.
Really good tool.
I got to pull the set screw out a little bit. It is a handy tool. Find my hole. There it is. So we ream it. And we ream the other front side. Okay. There we go. Let me measure this tire before I get it on there. Unlock it, zero it out. All right. So we're starting with a 900 tire. Now, when you order your foam, you can get foam with different ODs, different IDs. So you want to match the foam to as close to the wheel and as close to the OD as you can get, so you don't spend all your day cutting a lot of excess rubber that you don't need to be cutting. there it went. Okay, so those are on. So now we're going to take these down. I'm going to take them down to 800. I'm going to set my caliper while these are grinding. Back to 0. Back to 800. I'm going to set it for 805 because when I cut the tires, they're going to cool and they're going to contract a little bit. All right, 806 this one will be close enough. You can always take a tire smaller, you just can't add rubber to them. At least I haven't found out a way. I'm working on it. I'm thinking about recaps. You can go to the big one if you want. Okay.
So we talked about rim sizes. We haven't really talked too much about compounds, but obviously we have a soft, medium, and a hard. Really, when we want to make it easy.
Yeah.
Some people call it natural. Some will call it.
Well, we have different. You have natural, and then you have treated, which is harder than natural, and then you have Wonder Rubber. Wonder Rubber comes in a couple. You know, it can come in a soft, medium, or hard. We use a little bit of soft here. We use mostly medium, and almost never do we use hard. Now I know that the JK Wonder is the harder rubber. The harder rubbers are going to give you more speed. I probably need to work with it a little bit more and see if I can keep it on the track, because that would definitely benefit me. I haven't used enough of the JK. We like, you know, the medium that we were talking earlier about how you test rubber or how you know what the compound is. I'm going to show you a quick test. Understand this isn't rocket science, but this is a durometer, and it just simply has a pin here at the bottom, and it measures how much pressure is against the pin. And so I push that against the rubber, and the slot it's around 24, and I think they measure this in Shore. So this is, you know, you can push it. Actually, I hit a different spot, and it went up to, actually got as high as a 20, 28, 29. And you'll get that with any tire. You'll get different amounts of variation. See there, it's around 28. So, but that's how you measure your tires, and
If they're hard or soft.
if they're hard, soft, or where they are. Now, we were talking earlier, Steve and I were talking about the disadvantages of two devices that people like to use. You want to go back to the...
Sure.
A lot of people like to use tire treatment. I rarely do. But what I see with a lot of our guys that are new to the game, they'll use lint rollers for tire treatment. And lint rollers are great for pulling trash off your tire. But if you don't have trash on your tire, it's a placebo.
Yeah.
And what they need to be doing is cleaning the tire with lighter fluid. And
That should be your go-to.
that should be your go-to. And what I do is I put lighter fluid on a rag, and I don't saturate the tire with it. I just put it on a rag. I'll pick up one of my cars. Is that blue one yours?
Yeah.
I'm going to take Steve's car, and I'll just go like this. Let me flip cameras, and I'll show them close up. I go like this, and I just kind of roll the tire and press the rag against the rubber as I roll the tire. Now, I know Steve probably just put tire treatment on his, and I'm taking it all off for him.
No, I didn't.
Now, okay,
However,
go back.
What Jim's saying is true. I did it all the time.
So what the lighter fluid does that the
Tire dressing.
the lint roller doesn't do
Yeah.
is that the lighter fluid pulls the rubber debris out of the pores of the tire and opens up the pores. Lint roller's not going to do that. Lint roller will pull some of the rubber that's on top of the tire off.
Yeah.
Normally, I will start a race. I will clean my tires before the race. Normally, I don't clean them again till the end of the race. Now, if the track is getting loose on me, then sometime I will clean them more often. But rarely, I mean, rarely do I use tire treatment.
Yeah.
If I've got some dried out tires, then I'll usually put on a power supply and lightly sand them and freshen them up. Or if I'm in a time crunch, then perhaps I'll hit them with tire treatment.
Yeah.
But
The
that's
first thing
about
is
it.
you should just put the car on the track and run it, and
Yeah.
just see what is the car doing before. Because a lot of guys, they won't even put the car on. They'll just grab the car out of the box and throw the treatment on it and go after it, thinking that's going to be the answer when the car probably didn't need anything from the jump.
Now, I know from experience I'm going to probably take this to the letter I on the tire truer, and that's going to, and I don't know if you can even see it. There's an I right there on the dial. And those letters represent different diameters. And so I just know from experience that I is going to usually get me right about where I want to be. And
the other thing with cutting tires and truing them is that you have to be patient. If you try to rush that process and try to cut too much at once, you'll burn the tires and
yeah.
you'll hurt them. It's kind of a patience game when it comes to making them.
The other thing I found out is a coarser grit seems to work better. These
On your drum, you mean?
Yeah, on your drum. And if your drum is worn, you can buy these drums online from any abrasive shop. So you know you don't have to be super cheap. You know, buy you some new drums. Sure. You peel them off, and so now what I'm doing is I'm going to dress the sidewall. Let me see which side was the shiny one. I think it was this one over here, but I'm going to dress both sidewalls. This one's protruding just ever so slightly out of the rim. And then I'm going to round it. And then I'm going to do the same thing to this wheel. I'm dressing the sidewall. That one was pretty flush. And now I'm going to round it. Find my set screw. All right, there's you a true tire. It's got, I don't know if you can see that rounded edge or not, but that's all you're after is that rounded edge. And that's how you make tires. Here's a slotted. Now I put more curve on this one than I do the slotted because I got a lot more rubber to work with. But that's how I do my tires. Now, Steve and I are not claiming to be
Tire experts or anything.
the experts in any of this. What we see is a need for education, and we can just go from our experience and show you what we have learned.
You know, one thing you might want to consider too is a lot of guys, they'll come to me and say, you know, my car is not doing really well, what do you think? And I'll say, well, what tire's on there right now? What size tire? And they don't know, or they don't know what compound or anything else. And so I had a friend of mine a couple days, it was yesterday actually, and I looked at his car and we measured the tires, and they should have been at around 810 and they were at 760. And so the car slowed down exponentially because the tire got so small. And so he changed tires, and guess what? The car woke right up. But the thing that caught my attention was that he had no idea, and he didn't have, I don't think, a caliper, and I don't think he really thought much about it. The tire still looked like it had a lot of tread, and he just figured something might be wrong with the car in a different area, and it was really just his tire. And truthfully speaking, that's usually the problem.
That happens a lot.
A lot.
Where new people don't understand, as the tire wears, the car slows down.
Yep.
And you know, you just have to watch that.
So take notes. That was my point. Like if you look at my car here, I have so many cars that I'm working on. You'll see I'll put a little blue piece of tape on the bottom of it, and it has a note here. It says smaller tire, 795 to 800, because I had put some really big tires as an experiment to see if it would work.
Looks to me like illegal weighting.
But this car I haven't really needed it for anything, so it didn't have any notes.
See,
but,
he hadn't cheated with that one yet.
Oh boy! But if my Yada, You ought to take notes, and if you don't have a pad or paper, even just a small piece of blue tape to give you a reminder so that you can adjust that car for the next time and know what worked and what didn't work. And conversely, if I find something that really works, I'll put a note on there. Make sure to use this tire because it worked with X. So I have a notepad at my box that has a lot of more specific notes, but if you're just trying to keep it basic and not get too crazy, just a note on the bottom of your car goes a long way about what's going on with it. So should take notes.
What else we need to cover? We're about there.
I think that's about it for today. I wanted to mention that next week's episode, we're going to try to cover a little bit about some of the things we offer and what we sell here, and some of the brands we carry, and kind of recognize some of them. I mean, obviously you see, you know, a new Hyper, new Can-Am, new LMP, the new, I think it's the NSX, is it not? Yeah, the new NSX. I mean, so we've got...
They're a good car. And we run slotted in Group C and also
LMP.
In LMP. You can run them in GT3 also. And then as we go to our left, we got a bunch of NSR up there. And then we run a lot of NSR GT3. I'm sorry I don't have more zoom for you.
Mosler and Can-Am.
A lot of Mosler and Can-Am. And then we get over into the Can-Am section. We run NSR and Thunder Slotting Can-Am. And then up on the top shelf
Skellauto
is our Skellauto. And we run the Hypercar series and Skellauto.
GT.
GT3 and so we have a pretty good selection. That's the NSR Hypercars there we're starting to run.
If you pan down there, you'll see we have all the different accessories too,
we got
from
all the
spacers,
parts,
pods, replacement body kits,
Yeah,
tires. I mean, you name it.
Lots of parts.
Delfalco parts. We're a big
Yeah.
Delfalco dealer, so that's something we're going to talk about next week, and some of the things that we sell and that we're trying to get that part active. So if you're interested in that, you know, or if you have any comments about today's tire program, let us know, and then I guess we'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. Till then.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hope you enjoyed.